It's the start of a brand new week. Good morning and welcome to the best morning show here in Ghana. That's Newday. My name is Josh Quinn. Remember, we're also live on DSTV channel 279. And coming up in the next 30 minutes, Ofoswampo elected NDC National Chairman, Esiedun Ketia retains his position as General Secretary of the party in the 9th National Delegates Congress. Esiwa District Police Commander battling for his life after sustaining gunshot wounds. Exhibitors at just ended Maiden Media General Startup Fair and Funding Summit want more of the fairs to be organized. And a mission will tell you why a nuclear family of 7 in Shai Osudoko district is gradually going into extinction. And on the foreign front, Trump does not want to hear tape of vicious Khashoggi murder. Details of these and many more coming up shortly. On to our very first story. The will of the 9,000 delegates who participated in the election was for Samuel Ofoswampo to lead the party as the chairman, with Chief Azoka Shariaite and Said Sinari as the vice chairman. And veteran politician who was described by some critics as autocratic, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, could not be unseated as the general secretary. Peter Otukuno and Barbara Asamoah will serve as deputy general secretaries. The national organizer job was handed to Joshua Hamidu Akamba, with Chief Baini and Kobe Ballon as serving as his 2 deputies. A relatively newcomer, Sami Jemfi, who has within a short time shot to the limelight and endeared the heart of many NDC supporters and members, has been given the nod to lead the party's communication as the National Communications Director. As a party with a strong Zongo roots, the delegates have elected Abdul Aziz Mohammed as the National Zongo Caucus Coordinator of the party. Dr. Anabisu is leading the charge as the Women's Front as a National Women's Organizer, with Mame Ifua and Abigail Elom as the deputies. And for the youth, the mantle has been given to George Opari Ado to serve as the National Youth Organizer, with Edem Agbana and Ruth Della 7 as the deputies. And still in the camp of the NDC, the party is considering conducting its next national executives elections electronically. This was after delegates at the 9th National Congress of the party expressed frustration over long hours spent in voting. Here's reports by Selom Amenya.
In 2014, the NDC Congress expanded the Electoral College from about 4,000 to over 9,000. Delegates at the 9th Delegates Congress in Accra were frustrated after the snail-paced voting process caused anxiety amongst them. Many condemned the process, which lasted close to 16 hours, describing it as rather torturous after only 7 polling booths were created for the over 9,000 delegates.
When you are having a program of such nature, some of these setbacks definitely will happen. But I'm really happy with my fellow delegates. They have been patient because of the love and the fact that they want to achieve something for the party. They've endured the hardship and the setbacks that they have gone through.
There were also claims that delegates from the Bron Ahafo region were made to vote late as a way of intimidating the delegates, who many suspect will vote for Johnson Esiedun Ketia. Incumbent General Secretary Johnson Esiedun Ketia, who is seeking re-election's campaign coordinator Alhaji Mohammed Kweku Doku, corroborated the intimidation of their supporters.
Yes, they were intimidated, but you can't say it's deliberate. Looking at the huge number of people that this Congress handled, if you are somebody who have worked as a party leader before, yes, to the bystander, you say that is deliberate.
Thus, Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, Adekoka, insisted the use of electronic voting is long overdue.
These days, with our mobile phones, we can just press the knob and then we are home and dry. We should modernize the election. This paperwork is too long. This has dragged on because we have 65 people contesting. Some positions are 18, 19. It's a lot and it takes time. So we need to revisit all these things.
Former sports minister and member of the NDC, Elvis Efie-Ankra, explains the choice of the Fantasy Dome as venue.
Unfortunately, because of the various renovations and the tournaments going on, we couldn't get any stadium. We thought that we could do it at Gomwa. Again, that was a challenge because all the 4 different dates that we gave them were dates that had already been booked. Per our constitution, this Congress had to happen before the end of this year. And linked to that, the presidential flag bearership, which has to happen before the 7th of December.
If you just tune in, you're watching news here on Newday. My name is George Quinnin, and it's still on the NDC Congress. A simple directive to delegates of the party not to send food inside the auditorium of the Fantasy Dome at the Trade Fair Center in Accra could not be adhered to. After spending nearly 24 hours in the auditorium, the over 9,000 delegates had indiscriminately littered the place with leftover food, used food packs, as well as plastic water and soft drink bottles. Here's another report by my colleague Salom Amenya.
As of Sunday morning, when voting for the national executives entered second day, the arena had been left messy, posing health hazard to the delegates and observers who were in a last-minute lap to bring the curtain down on the 9th National Delegate Congress of the NDC. It was a simple instruction from party leadership that no food be sent into the auditorium of the Fantasy Dome at the Trade Fair Center. But that did not go down well with delegates to comply. Clearly, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, Adekoka, was unhappy about the messy situation inside of the 15,000 capacity auditorium, but he was helpless, adding, in the circumstance, there is nothing the party can do.
We told them nobody should bring food inside, and they didn't listen. And you couldn't move everybody outside to clean it. I mean, we were voting. We voted throughout the whole night. So how can you clear these things? We have to live with it for the moment. It's the hazards of life.
His only hope is for those tasked to clean the place to restore it to its original state.
And away from the NDC Congress, District Police Commander of Esiwa in the Bosome-Freho district of the Ashanti region is battling for his life right after he sustained gunshot wounds on his neck. And 4 other persons, including a police officer, 2 community police assistants and driver of the district chief executive of the area, were also shot.
The incident is said to have happened at Nsuta around 5 Sunday morning. The team went to the community to arrest some 6 persons suspected to have murdered a farmer between Tumfo Krom and Nsuta last week Wednesday. Upon reaching Nsuta Saturday night, the suspects could not be found after 5 hours of search. On their way back to Isiwa, the police commander and his men were ambushed by armed men. The armed men shot the police and injured 5, including the district police commander at Isiwa. The police commander, who was shot in the neck and the back of the head, is battling for his life. He is receiving medical attention at the intensive care unit of the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital.
3 of his men were transferred to Komfanoche for further treatment. I would say they are in a little better position in terms of their health than the police commander. He is in the intensive care unit because of the bullet wounds on his neck. We are waiting for CT scan to be done, and then when that is done, it will inform the cardio team about how to go on.
Meanwhile, the district's coordinating director of Bosome-Freho, Douglas Anofo, disclosed to TV3 that 3 out of the 6 suspects have been arrested. The police, with support from the community, are on a manhunt to arrest the remaining 3 suspects. The Regional Police Command will brief the media on Monday.
And now to our very own, and exhibitors of the Maiden Media General Startup Fair and Funding Summit are asking for more of the fairs to be organized. And the two-day fair closed on November 17 at the Aviation Social Center here in Accra, with over 50 exhibitors taking part in the fair.
After hosting over 200 startups since the Mover segment was introduced on TV3's Business Focus, not only has it won awards for its dedication and commitment to grow startups, but has also come to appreciate the challenges startups face. As a result, Media General came up with the Startup Fair and Funding Summit to assist these startups find solutions to some of the problems facing startups. The fair opened on November 16 at the Aviation Social Center.
We have partnered businesses, and we've been advocates for hundreds of startups that have blossomed to become full-grown businesses over the years. You know, we do this because we believe, as a responsible business, that when the ecosystem of businesses expand, our own business also grows. Which is why we are relentless in our quest to develop programs and initiatives that create sustained value for our audience and clients.
Maslock is being resourced with over 200 million to support SMEs and small enterprises. And I'm sure next year you see a different Maslock. The organizers have done a wonderful job because it is not easy to mobilize resources to organize such an event.
It's the backbone of our economy, and so it deserves a lot more attention than is given to it. And so, Media General, thank you very much. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I love it very much.
Networking and sales were brisk. Exhibitors were given the opportunity to promote their business on TV3, 3FM, Onua FM, and other Media General platforms.
Everything is going on well and everything is cool. People are coming by.
On day 2 of the fair, some of the exhibitors pitched their business ideas to win funding for their ventures.
To bump into him in an elevator, how are you going to make those seconds count, right? And so you have to know the type of pitches you're creating, then the type of individuals or people you're pitching to, and of course in this the type of companies you're pitching to. It's so important because you will pitch the wrong company and the person will not be interested in talking to you because I'm a private equity fund. Private equity are the $3 million, $5 million, $1 billion kind of.
One startup will be selected for funding. Already, some of the startups have booked appointments to meet the CEO of Maslock for possible funding. Some of the exhibitors assess the fair.
We are just spreading our tentacles. So this will actually be a platform for us to just showcase what we have. We sell fresh yogurt, and fresh yogurt we actually have 2 flavors. We have vanilla and we also have strawberry.
Right now, some people are giving me their contact number. So after this one, I'll call them out, and then that will take it from there. The networking starts from here.
The funding summit was perfect. I've learned a lot. I know who to go to, what to do, who to talk to, how to even pitch my business. I thought I knew how to pitch, but I know I've learned some more. So, I mean, there was a good and the bad. So next time, just do the crowd pulling to the place and then we're good to go.
And kudos to the business team. And according to the head of the business desk, subsequent exhibitions will be held in other regions. And so stick with TV3 for more. A nuclear family of 7 in a community in the Shai Osudoku district is gradually going into extinction due to the contraction of human immune virus, that's HIV, and surviving family members are struggling to battle the constant societal stigma.
Persons living with HIV and AIDS are often stigmatized and rejected by families. This treatment has subjected most persons living with the syndrome to become socially maladjusted. That is the case of a family of 7 residing in a community in the Shai Osudoku district. I embarked on a 2-hour journey covering about 35 kilometers to visit this family. They reside in the remotest area of the district's because they could not bear the constant stigma meted out to them. Unfortunately, 4 of the family members, their father and 3 children, could not contain the disease, and so they died. 9 years after their death, the surviving members have had to deal with stigma. This has taken a serious toll on their lives. The 2 siblings, Araba and Jennifer, for instance, have been able to stand the storm after they were introduced to antiretroviral medicine by an orphanage that adopted them after the demise of the 4 family members. The 2, who have lived with the virus for more than 10 years, are the only hope of their ailing mother. They are fortunate to be enrolled in a public basic school, but the stigma meted out to them by their colleagues leaves more to be desired.
Some people hate me in our class and some don't hate me. So if I'm going to play with those who hate me, they're not allowed to play with them because of some sickness is with me. That's why they don't like me to get closer to them. If I report them to the teachers, I don't know what the teachers will do to them. And I said to them that whatever they are doing to me, God who created us to the earth, so God will fight for me.
The 2 have resolved not to stop school in spite of the challenges they face because they have vision. Her resolve to get education is motivated by a dream she had.
I heard a dream from my father, and he told me that I should not stop the school. I should go ahead and finish my secondary school. As my sister finished her secondary school, I should do it, but I should not follow my brother, so that I should come and be a bad person in future. So I should follow the good thing.
Founder of the orphanage, Benis Mausi Boss, is their source of inspiration.
I also give them the word of God to let them know that what God wants them to become, that's the only thing they will become, no matter the condition or the situation they find themselves in.
Their mother, Augustina Wuntumi, as I prefer to call her, could not tell how she contracted the disease. Her family and society have rejected her. She is starving because she has no job. She was once a trader but lost all her capital after the community stigma for her and her children intensified as no one was ready to buy from her. She can neither afford health care. HIV/AIDS, although not curable, can be managed through the use of antiretroviral medicine.
Quite a sad story there, and that report was filed by my colleague Stanley Nobel. And now let's shift to the foreign front, where U.S. President Donald Trump says he does not want to listen to any audio recording of the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, despite facing mounting pressure to punish Saudi Arabia for the killing. Khashoggi was killed inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2, and Turkey has given the U.S. government a recording of the murder. But Trump said he would not listen to it because it's a suffering tape, it's a terrible tape. I don't want to hear the tape. No reason for me to hear the tape, Trump said in an interview with Fox News on Sunday. And on that Khashoggi note, we end news here on Newday. You can get more news updates on our website, it's 3news.com. My name is Josh Quinny. Newday continues right after this break with Johnny Hughes and Nanama. Thanks for watching.
Good morning, it's Monday, the 19th of November. We're told today is an International Men's Day. What do we do?
And it's also World Toilet Day. You know, always coincide.
Why are you putting the two together?
No, I just had to remind you so that we also celebrate having a toilet at home, because at this point we should really be talking about
I need to write a letter, an open letter to the United Nations and ask them why they decided to put World Toilet Day on International Men's Day.
Don't worry, it's just a coincidence.
The connotation, no, this coincidence is too coincidental. It's not fair.
Well, maybe it's the men who don't like to use the washroom, so they're just reminding them. When we put it together, it makes the work easier. When we talk about men then we'll talk about the toilets as well. Don't worry, we'll still celebrate
International Men's Day.
I mean, that's why you should be advocating for men to be celebrated every day and not just on one day. And so, don't worry, Johnny. We love you all the same, but we love the toilets as well.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
We want to keep the country and the world at large clean. And so, we have to talk about it. The fact that people are still, you know, going to have their private issues in the open, because it no longer becomes private when you certainly are doing that along the shorelines. I mean, in indiscriminate places. And I think it's high time government looks at it critically, because that advocacy for every house to own a toilet, I think is still not working. You've got people, about 10 people sharing a property, and there's only one washroom. That is certainly inadequate. Or there probably isn't even any, because they've converted where it should have been a toilet into a bedroom to rent out, all in the bid for money.
One thing, I mean, we'll talk about International Men's Day. Congratulations to every single man on this planet in Ghana particularly.
And of course, at Media General.
Who's, yes, at Media General, who's playing you know, a manly role, a father figure, you know, being a shining example. Yesterday, Judge Linda Ampa GMB said something. She said, if all men will play their roles better and tell their daughters, we love you, you're pretty, oh, you look good, and all of that, they won't have some boy somewhere tell them those words, and because they're hearing it for the first time, they will fall for them. Yeah. So this, while we celebrate, it's for you to man up, really, if you're a man out there. Man up. If you help your wife in the kitchen, the food will still be good for eating. So man up.
Definitely. And as we were talking about that yesterday, I saw an interesting, I don't remember if it was a tweet, but it was something flying across social media where a man had said when he would send his wife to a catering school, and then another man came to ask him, what happens if she doesn't like to cook? And he says, well, with me and the way I like my food, she would have to know how to cook. Then the man asked, what happens if you go to the catering school and come and cook for your wife as well? Then he says, I mean, there was a rebuttal to say he wasn't amused with what the first person had said. But it drew my mind to the fact that, truthfully, if this is what you want and for yourself, or you want for someone else, you should certainly want to be in that position as well to see what it is like. And so there's nothing wrong with sending a man to a catering school if he so loves certain dishes and would want to see them on his table.
I think, I grew up in a home where my father made sure that for my brothers and my sisters, there was no job that had a gender attached to it. If we were painting, we all were painting. If we were cooking, we all were cooking. And we had a timetable where if week 1, all the men are in the kitchen, week 2, all the women get back into the kitchen, the men do something else. So we can all do, you know, multiple tasks at different, there's no gender to any task at all.
Particularly relationships, I feel when you love the person enough, irrespective of what it is, you're in a shared, you know, responsibility, you're in this together. So whatever will make your family happy, peaceful, enjoyable is what you do. There's nothing like, this is for person A, this is for person B. And so if you haven't done it, I'm waiting for you. Like your lights are off and you're waiting for the man to come and buy bulbs to change, really.
Anyway, but speaking of International Men's Day, I'd like to congratulate the guys at the National Students Awards over the weekend on Saturday. They gave me an award, Nobel Change Ambassador, because of what I do on Community Connect and my exploits in the media as well, and being a former student leader. So thank you to all of them. I will pick up the plaque. I couldn't pick it because I was at the NDC Congress, but I'll go and pick it up. So Prince, David Ochel, and the rest of the team, thank you very much.
And congratulations, finally, to Reverend Dr. ABD. That's what we call him, but he's Joseph Adu, for those who don't know.
ABD.
He had his wedding, and Kropong over the weekend. We were there. It was interesting. But again, people drive recklessly.
ABD.
Yeah, that's his name.
I like the name.
People drive recklessly on the roads, Johnny. I had an unfortunate incident of viewing. Well, actually, it was a Ghanaian artist whom we all know who was going to shoot a video, because later I saw it on social media saying such. And the driving on the road was terrible. And I thought this was literally you signing a death warrant, because you can see what you're doing is bad. Even the people along the streets would turn when, you know, the cars moved. And I think people should drive better, particularly as we're going into the festive season. We certainly have to talk more about that.
I would like to cap this up with the World Toilet Day conversation. You spoke about the fact that there's a directive for every home to have toilets. And I've been thinking, when we have our, you know, local authorities come around to come and check for property rate or come and give you the bill for property rate, do they do a reevaluation or a reassessment of what the property looks like? Because you only get, when you submit your documents for the permit and you're done building and they come to do the assessment, then they're able to do the calculation of the property rate. Now, 6-7 years down the line, if you have done some adjustments, you have done some modifications, do they come to check it to reevaluate the home to know that you were paying 10 cedis earlier, now because you have added some things, the value of the building has shot up, so you have to pay 25 cedis. Do they do that?
I think they don't do that, because if I can pick up from what the senior minister said some time back, that we have a problem with our reevaluation system, our criteria, even what to look at when you go to reevaluate, how to tally with your previous documents and the current, you know. So I think there must be an issue there.
They should do that. They should do that because
they may try, but
over
sure
the last 4 days, the taps have been off. They are not flowing. Over the Ghana Water Company is not explaining. They are not telling anybody anything.
And it seems to be happening pretty often now. But because most people are using tanks, poly tanks, and they've stored water, it's only when the water starts running out from the poly tanks that we actually come and make this noise. Because it lasts a long time. You've got a week, you've got 4 days.
I didn't know my tank was almost running out. Then my neighbor told me, oh, now they are to Krumo had 4 days.
It's about 5 days now.
Yesterday was when I realized that the water had run out. And nobody is explaining anything. And the lights are also going off. They keep flickering, going off, and nobody is explaining anything.
Business as usual.
ECG owes us as an explanation. Ghana Water owes an explanation to us. We must know what's happening, because water is life. Today is International Toilet Day. If you don't have water, you can't flush your toilet. You know that. So tell us why the water is not flowing.
But it certainly depends on what toilet you're using.
Say again.
It depends on the toilet you're using, isn't it?
Flash Some
of them don't need water, really.
But if you don't have water, you hear boboli bobo in your house.
But anyway, today we've got an interesting lineup for you. It's a Monday. We'll start off with how easy it is to do business in Ghana. Johnny, how easy is it to do business in Ghana? It's not easy.
It's tough.
But with a startup fair, I'm sure most people will be getting, you know, connections and links.
I like one thing that happened at the startup fair. It was the summit. And so you had John Kumar of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. You had TKC Africa's and Aqua. You had Maslock. You had Venture Capitalists. You had Bayport. And you had a business desk. What we essentially tried to do was to make them aware of the networking opportunities, where to look for funding. And they actually pitched to get some funding from, you know, our partners and donors. So I think that moving forward, the conversation about how tough it is to do business in Ghana, you know, in the coming days, for those who participated, will be better for them. Because the truth is, it's tough to do business in Ghana. It is tough not because the environment is not enabling. It is tough because the banks themselves are looking at what they want to invest in. So they don't go about investing in nearly everything. Even our own ADB that was set up to push agriculture, how many agric loans do they give in a year?
Was there something saying ADB and NIB had merged?
Well, I didn't see that. What I saw in the budget, I heard that. But what I heard in the budget was that we're going to have a new development bank, you know, entirely different. If that's what it explains, then. But I didn't hear ADB, NIB measure. I heard a new development bank that's going to come up.
Anyway, let's touch on the newspaper headlines.
We'll touch on it, of course. The BNFT says government commits to prudent spending post-IMF. And Ghana Institute of Journalism and Languages, after measure, Institute of Communication and Media Arts. So Ghana Institute of Languages, NAFTI and GIJ, are they going to merge? Well, coming to merge them. Let's see how it goes. All set for ECG takeover in February, Ofori Atta says so. The Daily Graphic, Ofosu Ampo for Chairs NDC, Esiedun Ketia, still General Secretary. Police commander in critical condition after being shot by assailants. An articulated truck runs over school children, killing 5. SARD. Daily Guide. Otumfor settles Andani Abudu rift in Dagban crisis. Mosquito sacks Koku's blood at NDC's Congress as cash goodies flow. Mahama fights Nana over corruption, and Rawlings confuses NDC with coded message. The Ghanaian Times this morning says ex-President Mahama accuses government of corruption. Unity Air granted operating certificate to start domestic flights. And at the NDC election, Esiedu Ketia Flores Koku of Oswampofu grabs chairmanship position. And finally, on the front page of the final newspaper, 11.3 million Ghana cedis bank fraud. Police arrest staff of defunct Unibank, sorry about that, over illegal transfers. 2019 budget, thumbs up from TUC. Ofosompofu, NDC's new chairman, and over 90% of banking fraud comes from employees. That's according to the Bank of Ghana. An economic management team dominate media discussions of 2019 budget. I don't know whose idea it was, I mean, last week to have key personalities within the economic management team go around the media. We had Professor Jamba for, I think the finance minister was elsewhere. He had deputies, financial advisors. I think it was a good thing that they went on to explain the details of, you know, and I'd like to say congratulations to the Vice President, Dr. Baumia. This is innovative. I hope that when we have other critical issues and we call out to you to respond to them, we will get you to respond to them. It does appear that because this is a budget, perhaps, so we got you to respond to it. But you want to talk about the NDC's Congress?
Yes, the NDC's Congress. I did. And interestingly, I wasn't amused with the letter I saw there because there was a directive not to send food in there. But obviously, we saw this. And for me, it's a larger picture. Moving away from NDC, this is Ghanaians. And this is people who you think will be able to organize themselves in a particular way. And so if we can congregate at a venue and do this kind of dirt, this is what is widespread across the length and breadth of Ghana. And that was unfortunate. But back to General, you know, Asiedu Nketia, he's still General Secretary. And he says, you know, people have attempted spraying him with all kinds of insecticides, but see, he's still there. So anyway, I hope they get stronger insecticides to be able to spray him. But of course, he must be doing something right if people would still vote him to be General Secretary.
I think that the elections itself, even though it was long and torturous, it was peaceful. For me, I think that the Congress was well put together. Even though I had a few issues to raise about, you know, sanitation. Because when I saw the baller, it caught my attention. You know, I'm a baller man, so it caught my attention. The washrooms as well, the mobile toilets that were brought. It wasn't the best because people actually messed it up. I thought that, well, for a Congress that was running to 2-3 days, we would have had, you know, people taking care of it. But having said that, I think that the arrangement and, you know, the organization was well done. And kudos to the lawyer Alex Sigbefia committee. Honorable Ablaji Fagumashi herself is a member of the committee. I met him. You know, so congratulations to them. I think that in future, what we need to do, and those who are trying to play politics with the picture of litter that I put out there on Facebook
Johnny,
should
they
stop.
Always will.
No, it's not about politics. You see,
it's unfortunate that people
there was an
would
instruction. The committee said, don't take your food in there. And while I was there, I heard at least 2 announcements that said, before the elections began, that we're going to vote, but we'll vote in 2 parts. So while the first part votes, the second part can go out to the designated eating area, go and have their food. When they are done, then they will come in. So the first part who were voting can also go and have their food. It was simple. And they kept saying it. I heard Mr. Alex Sigbefia often, you know, very often say that, shut the doors so we can have the auditorium cool off so the ACs can work and all of that. So it was just the delegates who didn't listen to, you know, simple instruction. And for me, these are persons who are leading political parties at different levels. Not to smear the NDC. But it does happen, you know, across. And these are people who are leading a political party that's calling for, you know, Ghanaians to vote for them for the 2020 election. If they can manage a simple directive of, you know, litter, how do you expect anybody who's a floating voter to be convinced by the campaign that you do? I think we need to get beyond this. 25 years practicing democracy under the 4th Republican Constitution, and a single directive from a committee that you say you respect, you can't abide by it. That's not right. That's not. And I've seen some MPP people trying to get political capital. I think
Because I mean, NDP will go and have Congress, and it's the same
when
story.
When the NDP had their Congress, we had a similar situation.
It is. There's nothing different
so
on the other
there's
side.
Nothing. It's just us.
And it's a behavioral attitude. We talk about it as Ghanaians, and then we all have to change it, irrespective of what political party. I'm sure if any group of people congregate today, they are bound to do this, and we're saying it's a bad thing.
It is.
And so moving forward, Ghanaians in general should try and make sure we're conscious of where we litter and how we litter. Because, Johnny, even when you buy water, sachet water, the way people just throw it out there on the buses, moving buses, at least put it in the car. Worst case scenario, that mate is going to have to clean the car and put it somewhere decent. But anyway, it's time for us to rant. We're still talking about how easy it is to do business in Ghana. Apparently, Ghana has moved from being 120th to 114 in the World Bank doing business report. So maybe it's not that easy, but we're doing something differently to be able to move from 120 to 114.
And that's why Vodafone is asking you to make the smartest choice now for your business, because you go smart business from Vodafone. Experience real flexibility, convenience, and productivity. Smart business from Vodafone allows you to create your own customized data and voice plan to suit the unique requirements of your business, whether it's the airtime you need or data for you to make those critical calls, and for data packages for email and digital marketing. They've got your good covered there. Also, you get to roll over your unused data and to save some cash for your business. Move your business into the future with Vodafone Smart Business. Call them on 0302 334 040. That's 0302 334 040 or 0800 10,000, or visit www.vodafone.com/business/smart business to build your own plan. Vodafone says the future is exciting. Question is, are you ready? And we're ready to rant.
Yep, we are. Let's hit the streets and rant.
This is what it feels Nobody here knocking at my door. This is what it feels like.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Rant here on Newday. My name is George Quinn. Remember, we are live on DSTV channel 279. This morning we are talking business, and Ghana moved 6 places up in the latest, World Bank doing business report, and the report takes into consideration some indicators, including access to electricity, paying taxes, access to credit facility, and even registering property. But is that what is on the ground? Is it easy doing business in Ghana, or is the reverse? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking. Ghana was 120 and now they are 114. It's quite good news. Does it reflect in the country? Do you think doing business in Ghana is easy?
I don't think it's very easy, because if you look at our economy now, I do listen to politicians. They use their grammar, GDP and all that. But when it comes to business on the grounds, we those who are doing the business, it is not an easy thing at all. Access to credit. There are so many people out there who want to do something, but it is not easy. Even we those who have started doing something, we even wanted to buy out. So it is not easy doing business in Ghana at all.
It is not easy. It is easy said, but not easy done. In that I am into it, I'll say I'm a starter. When they talk, doing business in Ghana has been 120 and now 140 ranked. Very good to listen. But then if you come down, it has not been easy for us at all. The ecosystem is very bad. The environment in which we live is so tight, to the sense that the policies being put down for us to do our business is very tightened. You want to register a business, for example, you have to pass so many ways before you get to one business registered. You want to register your products for certification so that people will see what you have and buy it or consume it. You have to go through so many things before you get one thing done. And the ecosystem is just not good. The system is too tightened. It is really not, as they say, on paper.
In general, everywhere doing business is quite a challenge, because you need to penetrate a new market and all that. So that's the. But I think the main challenge that we have, and we all sitting here and all those who are exhibiting right now, because we are all made in Ghana, product-oriented companies. And my company, SokoCenter.com, is purely for made in African products. The main challenge we have is Africans having confidence in the made in African products. Because that is where the whole thing is. We don't have to worry about credit facility.
I mean, there should be that awareness.
Yes, there should be that awareness. Look, she for example, she is into the Hausa cocoa. So, Fatad Hausa cocoa, for example. So, so assuming with all her input, her profit margin is, let's say, 1 cedi. Okay. Now, if 1 million people out there decide to shop only Hausa cocoa, this Hausa cocoa, just within a month, her company is getting 1 million. There's no need to talk about government credit facility or anything for that matter. So my point is simply this. Ghanaians and Africans in general, we should have confidence in our products because our products are extremely good.
We also have some of your people, doing this made in Ghana things, but will wipe whatever it is and say it's made in China.
Yeah, it's exactly. You've just nailed the point. You've just buttressed my point. It's because the Ghanaian or the African in general, we seem to fancy what is coming from outside the continent. So we don't even fancy what is coming from, let's say, Burkina Faso or Nigeria or anything. No, we are interested in what is made in some other continent, okay? Not to mention names, okay? And that is the major challenge.
Businesses want government support one way or the other to grow. Yeah. But until then, when you don't get that support, what are you doing, business? What are you doing on your own to just thrive on your own, not needing government support?
Well, a couple of times I do hear government, past government and today government, they all seem to say this, that they are creating enabling environment for the private sector to dive on. So I keep on asking myself, what is it that what kind of environment that are they creating? I ask myself a couple of times, but I don't seem to be getting those answers. You understand? So, for instance, I established my company in the year 2009. And with 5,000, right? And I was able
5,000 cities.
5,000 cities, okay. Right? So through that, we are able to increase. I started with 1 person. Now we are about 10.
No, that's good.
Now if you look at last year, we made a revenue of 780,000, and we want to do expansion.
780,000. That's old 7 billion plus.
That was a sale that we make. That's not profit anyway. It's a sale. So we want to do expansion. Now, if we are able to get the necessary money that we needed, I think we'll be making sales of 2.4 million. That's about 308%. Now, having access to this money is not easy. Another problem that we have now is that if you look at the profit, the interest rate from the bank, it is not accessible. It is not easy. It is not easy. And even to get the someone to even guarantee for you, everybody is scared.
So does that mean when people are saying government is not helping them, does that mean they're not getting the physical cash? That's why they are ranting.
Maybe some might take it from that angle, that maybe they want a physical cash to inject to see a serious pump with cash into their business so that they can boldly say that government is helping. Fine, the fares are okay. Sometimes they call us for trainings. It is appreciable, but they can do more. They can do more by trying to know us, the entrepreneurs, educate us more, explore, let us know or let them know what we do or what we need, not really giving us cash, but talking us through, and we can make it.
Ghana, we are developing, and we are doing a lot these days. If you look at a product that is produced by a Ghanaian, it's well packaged. It's
packaging is not the best. Ghana businesses.
No, I'm saying that now.
Now
I am telling you, the Ghanaian or even African, let me just say African, made in African products, the packaging, they are excellent. I just give, look.
No, the paper bags, I like the paper bags, but I can't
in any product that
I don't want to, but yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. But the other ones that look at the package like,
now let me show
but packages woo people to buy the product.
Okay, but just take an example. Let's take a look at this. And these people go on the website. I receive calls very regularly on SokoCenter.com. People go there and they call me and ask, are you sure everything is made in Ghana? I said, yes, every single thing you're seeing on Sokotita.com is made in Africa. If it's not Ghana, it's coming from another African country. So our packagings now, they are really, we really have no excuse not to buy made in Ghana products.
Yeah, Chief, for you to appreciate this, you need to look back 10 years ago where we were. 10 years ago, how our packagings look like, and today. And in fact, we are doing well today.
Oh, yes.
Now, one thing that amazed me is that Dr. Safo, Apostle Safo, the best way government can help.
But no, you just inquire about the price of a car and compare it to, let's say, one at the garage. Right. Apostle's car is very expensive, so I might want to buy one that is cheaper. If Toyota is selling for 20,000, Apostle is selling his for 40,000. So yeah, you know.
All right. What you are saying is true, but why sometimes made in Ghana goods are expensive? It is expensive because the cost of doing business in Ghana itself is expensive. So automatically, you don't expect me to do an expensive product and then come out and sell it cheaply. Because one, our raw materials are good. We sort it, we go for a very good one. Unlike other countries who just go for cheap things and they sit somewhere and do anything without any regulations and they bring it to the market. So it is up to our government to sort and look out for the good products that Ghanaians are producing, promote it and then make it a household thing for everyone in the country than allowing any other countries to bring in anything.
I just want to commend you for holding the fort amidst challenges and all that, and then it's going to be well. And so we just sampled some businesses who partook in the Media General Startup Fair and Funding Summit. It's been great, and for them, they want government to ensure they have that enabling environment for their businesses to thrive. Also, they want more awareness on the patronage of made in Ghana goods. Let us know what you should think about this. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana, and on Twitter, it's a News TV3. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Here on TV3 Newday, so getting ready for, we started actually a new week of work, and we expect that you would go to work and give off your best. But check out some of your messages. It says, JB, so we thank God at long last NDC's double track election have come to an end, and we thank NDC delegates for electing leaders who will manage the party in opposition for the next 20 years. Nevertheless, tell incompetent, well, I'm not sure who you want to sound insulting this morning. Aziz Donline says the crop of leaders elected yesterday is a clear, manifestation of how ready the NDC is towards the 2020 polls. However, MPP should have monitored this election than they have monitored the whole 2019 budget. Maybe they know something we don't know. Congratulations to all winners, and NDC must rescue Ghana from this wahala. Aziz Donline. Wow. Hi, Johnny. Good morning. In the budget presentation last week, the finance minister announced that 100,000 NAPCO trainees have been employed and started work on the 1st of November 2018. But I can assure you that those of us who are NAPCO trainees are still in the house. The saddest part is that some of us were not into jobs that was giving you, were into jobs that were giving us something small. But because we were promised to start work on the 1st of November, we had to stop our work. And we are idle in the house. So, Johnny, please ask your NAPCO secretariat the reason we're still in the house. Joe in Medina is disturbed. Good morning. It was a long and hectic weekend with lots of activities, but we thank God for a successful election of the NDC. I love the way those who lost the elections accepted and willing to help the party win elections come 2020. But was sad at the event at Nsuta A, Ghana. We now attack our security personnel who are to protect us. Well, yesterday you say you loved my outfit from the GMB event yesterday. Zumakusi Paul Bolga. Good morning, Ghana. We thank the Almighty for giving the great NDC great leaders to come and help JDM come and save Ghanaians from the helpless, clueless, diversionless, and substantive. Okay, I don't get the too many words that you're putting in there. They are not adding up. Good morning, legible workers. You look so good. Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Shani Mutala from Mion District. Honestly, I think Anita Disoso gets it all wrong. It's high time people try to control their emotions in time like this, most especially when they are at the losing end. Eric Edemagbana, Ruth Sedo, Kobe Ballon, Agbleka William Wilson, Godwin Gunn, Evelyn Enyona Mensah, and all are Voltarians. I don't know which Volta region Anita Disoso was referring to. Congratulations to the most formidable party in Ghana, NDC. Gabriel from Hohoi says, I'm surprised Volta was mentioned by NDC as their World Bank, yet none of them occupied any sensitive position. My advice to the party, they must contribute to come and fix our roads before next year, March or 2016. History will repeat itself. Only stomach politicians will give them their votes to the road. Lasan Owana in Wa says, something will never change as far as the NDC is concerned. Their incompetence in governance has followed them in opposition. A common Congress, they could not find accommodation for their delegates. Did they tell you so? Bring evidence if you have. From Mustafa T. Pauli in Tamale, those who were elected at the NDC Congress cannot match it with any of the NPP delegates. The NDC and a former president has succeeded in sidelining the Voltarians. And good morning, TV3. Please, how do I reach the girls at Osudoku with HIV and the lady who is manning an orphanage and helping the girls? Well, if you call into TV3 later after 9 a.m., I'm sure George Queenie will be able to assist you. Good morning, my TV3 and all the viewers. My condolences to the families of Chief Hafizu Damana in Tamale. Also, congratulations to all the new NDC executives. I think their elections alone have proven that they are not ready for the 2020 elections. Internal elections take more than 48 hours. Highest incompetency and poor planning. Rashid from Kumbungu district. Well, Damana, rest in peace. May Allah receive your soul. Sofo Yamusa in Kumbungu says, I'm sad that His Excellency President John Mahama's campaign team have succeeded in smashing Voltarians in pieces. Why is John Mahama so unforgivable? Because Voltarians let him down. His team had vowed to ensure that the Voltarians will never enjoy positions as far as Mahama remains relevant. Sofo Yamusa in Kumbungu. Well, I thought the delegates made the decision, not John Mahama. Our sisters and brothers in our colleges of education idling about since the teachers are on strike and the government seems unconcerned. Please, TV3, help. Alasan Owana comes back and says, although the Volta region is the NDC's World Bank, they have the worst roads, poor development, no potable water, etc. Internal election to see how they have treated this diehard Voltarians who have contested. Well, prove the NDC wrong. Go and construct the roads. Alasan Owana, tell your party to do so. Alasan Owana and White will be repeating mistake for, okay, well, please extend your community ward to our area at Pokwasi, Afiaman. The whole town has no public toilet. The only public toilet we have has been closed down due to low patronage for 3 weeks. Really? We need your help. You can contact me on 0. Okay, for more details, Timothy will contact you. And the NPP should stop giving negative comments on our National Delegates Congress. Respect to all contestants and congratulations to the new communications officer, lawyer Sami Jemfi, Ali Iben Yakubu in Kentampo South, Jama. And speaking of which, at the just ended Congress, General Asedu Nketia, the mosquito, smashed the bull. How that is possible in real terms, you can tell. But it says, mosquito finds antidote to political insecticide. There are 5 canisters of used insecticide. The mosquito is still flying high, sitting atop, and the bull is vomiting. It says malaria. And General says, I know my level. I know my level. I know my level. Okay, we'll take a break at this point. When we return, there's more here on New Day, but deepest condolences to the family of my very good friend, Hafiz Damana, Lion King and Entertainment Chief of Tamale. You passed on to glory last Saturday. It's heartbreaking because we're having a conversation about how to get involved in the Damba Festival. And here you are. Man is frail indeed. After the break. Tilapia's got us talking here in the studio, but my guests have joined me here. The Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Adeko Kachif, thank you very much for your time. And also on behalf of the MPP, Nana Fedra Ajiman of Oriata. I'm minded to be reminded of the name. You didn't bring your spectacles, Nana.
Which one?
Good morning. The one that's...
I want your frame.
And how are you doing?
Thank God.
In a while. You monitored the NDC's elections. You did.
I missed what I thought were the more interesting parts. The speeches that were made by some leaders within their party. I missed those. I hear certain things were said. I'm not. I should have read them more. Yeah, but generally, yes.
I see. Chairman, congratulations.
Thank you.
You pulled it off one more time. It was torturous for us. 3 days we were out there in the dust and in the sun and everything else, but you came through. Were you happy with what you got in terms of organization and everything else?
Yeah, let me say good morning to yourself and my brother here and your viewers. I'm sure when the weekend, me and you had a lot of
absolutely back and forth, back and forth.
But yes, as was expected, we've done the national elections. It all started with branch elections, constituency, regional, and then national. And once you put those in place, then you must congratulate yourself for having been able to achieve that feat, because it's not an easy job to perform, considering the number of people involved, the movement, the logistics, you know, and you saw what happened there. Right. It was very tortuous, yeah. But at the end of the day, people were happy to be part of it. I mean, I was a member of the planning committee, so throughout the last month we've been through this. And I was talking to one of your guys who said, why didn't we go to somewhere bigger and that kind of thing? Well, we put all those things into consideration, and the Fantasy Dome has got some uniqueness about it. People keep claiming that it's got the capacity of doing so many things, you know. So we thought that place will be ideal for the people. But I realized that for political activities, for church activities, well, the dome is fantastic. Okay. But for church, for political activities where people are moving, because the place became hot because the doors had to be closed for the air condition to stay in, had been open. Right. We didn't anticipate that, you know, because we thought people were going to be strictly. They are. I
heard Mr. Segbefia talk about it.
Exactly.
On
exactly. Stage. So kudos to ourselves that we've been able.
If you look at the executive that have been put up, I've heard some political watchers already talk about the NDC towing a certain line. The regional balance talked about in the constitution is not present in this particular one.
It's not true. The deputy women organizer, Aram, she's from the Volta region. Right. The deputy youth organizer, Edem Agbana, from there. One of the National Executive Committee members, Enyonam, Mensa, from there. I think when you look at through the list, about 5 or 6, but in any way, when people start talking about this regional balance, I believe that people must be put into positions because of their competence. You see, because we keep saying regional balance, and you end up probably putting a square peg in a round hole. Notwithstanding, the executives that came out has everybody from any part of this country being part of it. Like I've just given 5 or 6 names who are from the Volta region. Azuka from the northern region. Okay. Akogam too. Akogam is from the Volta region. Right. What's his name? A few fancies. So
Anita De Soso particularly was not enthused. She said, look, there's no sensitive position that has been given to the Voltarians. Everything else seems to be towing a certain line.
I beg to differ.
The chairman of Oswampofo is a Khan, Siedu Ketia is a Khan, and those were some of the arguments being made.
I don't like us talking about this kind of things. You know, it brings division and rancor.
It does.
Yeah, into our. I mean, Ghana is a unitary state, and we've tried as much as possible to remain in this trajectory for a very, very long time. Okay. Right. The fact that you are not on the one is not in the main line, but look at the party as a whole, and like I said earlier on, everybody is represented there. I thought on the spur of the moment she didn't check her records. Right. So after she made that statement, some of us engaged there, and then set the record straight.
Okay. What do you say to those who, and I'll come to Nana shortly, but what do you say to those who believe that this, the people who have been elected actually sets the tone for JM? To you are known as a key crusader for JM, but this sets the tone. Every anti-JM person has been kicked aside. and these are just entirely JM and Sons, if you will.
Who those who represented themselves. Nobody came on the ticket and saying that I'm for JM or I'm against JM. Nobody.
Some mentioned.
Give me a name. Who
some
was
mentioned them.
Akamba is the national organizer. Is he anti-JM?
No, you said anybody came and
His
mentioned him.
His JM.
Akamba came mentioning that
he was on his train.
Pardon?
He was on his train.
Well, I never heard.
He was on Mr. Muhammad's train.
Oh no, but
that's how he campaigned.
But everybody that was on the ticket has one way or the other got to do something to do.
What do you see? What trend do you see? Having sat through the regional elections, the women and youth, and now this one, what do you see? Do you see a JM agenda?
JM agenda. Look, currently, let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, I don't like to play the ostrich. Among those who want to contest with JM for the flag bearers, he stands tall. In the conference room, when JM came in and he was introduced, you could see the applause, the accolade. Those who were contesting him, when they came in, hardly did even people notice them.
Perhaps you were playing only JM songs in the auditorium.
No, we were
Did you realize that as well?
No, we were not
playing. That you're
playing
playing JM songs.
No.
You're playing the anthem and JM songs.
We are going back to what we did over the weekend.
No, but that's a fact.
I'm just telling you that those who came in, those who were contesting, came in and they were not noticed. And it's a fact. At this where we are now, we've got the stage of flag bearership.
Okay.
And if I happen to be in that category of people, I'll advise myself. Whether we played JM songs or we didn't play a JM song, the evidence is clear.
But you play the JM songs.
Yeah,
that's what I want to point out
but
to
the evidence is clear.
That if you had other people who had other songs as well, you could have.
But unfortunately, they haven't composed any songs for themselves.
They haven't. Okay. I hear you. No, let me draw you into this conversation. The conversation about regional balance, the conversation about a supposed JM agenda and all the issues in between. Your thoughts?
Well, again, congratulations to the NDC. They've come closer and closer towards democratic about governance.
How do you mean?
Well, this is not their history. This is not the way they do things. Now they're getting there slowly. Go and check their history. In 92, what happened? They went and picked a candidate's hand. It was determined before the party was formed. In fact, the party was formed around the candidate. In 96, the same thing, and then there was a clarity about where things were going to go. In 2000, there was a Swedru declaration that split them up. There was no voting for candidates and all that. I'm talking about a trail
of things,
of how things have been. Then you dared not speak when Madame Frances Essiem was beaten into her chair. Dr. Obed Asamoah, he couldn't move and he needed to go to the bathroom. We don't remember those things, the Azoka boys. Today, Azoka is made vice chairman. Yeah, credit to the NDC, I guess. So it's a good history. They've learned. They're welcome to the community. Another thing that was very interesting was that they had quite a number of candidates per position. That is also an important thing to notice, because it isn't in their history. In fact, they mocked us that we dared to have 16 candidates seek for president. Now they have 11 candidates for a position in some instances. They have 12 or 13 for presidential.
Democracy is growing.
Thank you. So it tells you that they didn't know what democracy was. That's my point. Now they're getting there, and so they're welcome. These are, these are all.
So hard.
Pardon? No, I'm just. We're looking for the kinds of things we noticed, the kinds of things, the analysis we need to make, because it allows us to determine who we're dealing with. And we've always told Ghanaians that this political party is. But anyway, so they're here. They've done a few things that I thought were interesting, apart from the fact that they've brought all these people together. People have issues about whether they should have brought all of them together. You know. I tend to think that in as much as it's a logistical headache, there's something about it that's positive. The only thing is that the NDC doesn't come together to determine policy, for example. They don't. This is the first time or so that they've tried to vote on policy and things like that. But to meet only on policy, they don't do that. You know, and for me, when you're bringing people together, maybe it shouldn't be just to vote. The voting can be done in their, but then if they're bringing them together on policy issues, I think that's not a bad thing. But all in all, now, the consequences of the election, this matter of Akan, do you know why it is an issue?
No.
It's because the NDC made it an issue. It was not in our politics. They brought it into our politics. If and ever it came into our politics, it was killed in '79, in the '79 elections. They brought back this ethno-political thing, negativity, into our politics, calling NPP an Akan party. Today they voted all, what Madame Dusoso was trying to, the argument she was making, is that the frontline leaders, those who are the bosses, not the deputies, are all Akan.
They were qualified, they filed for
But my brother, that is the point. The point is that it has always been, today he's talking about competence. What a beautiful word, competence. It is so key, especially when you want to govern the good people of Ghana. It is so, so key. We have always known that. And so it was never an issue. But they made it an issue and poisoned the atmosphere from '92. Today they've come back to the proper thing. It is a good thing to know. But we should let them know that we will not forget that they were the ones who poisoned the air. They divided the country on that type of mentality.
On the 2020 election?
Now, I'm hoping that the people of the Volta region, the people of the northern region, the people of our upper east and upper west will realize that it has nothing to do with your ethnicity, but all to do with your Ghanaianness and your willingness to serve and be committed to the people.
And the MPP won't be drumming that side.
I am praying that we will make it an issue of pointing.
Why do you want to make it an issue?
If you've listened to me, you'll hear the issue I'm making. I'm making the issue that they have shown incompetence all these years in recognizing the need to keep our country unified. So for them today to now catch up, there's a lot more they need to catch up on. So they're not ready,
for example,
for governance. Technical needs of Ghanaians. Get educated. Every Ghanaian should get educated. They fought it. Now they want to pretend as if they never fought it. They fought it. And we will not let Ghanaians forget that they didn't want the 270,000 children who got to go to school over the last year and 10 months or 9 months of Akufo-Addo's government. If it were the NDC in government, they wouldn't have gotten to go to school. There's some 800,000 Ghanaians who didn't get to go to senior secondary school because of the NDC. I'm saying these things all pile up. And yesterday, the last 3 days or so have been evidence of that. Another interesting thing that has happened.
Finally.
Oh, finally?
Yes, finally.
The matter of, I mentioned Mr. Azoka. Is he Alaji? I don't know. I need to respect that. Is he Alaji?
Yes, an Alaji.
Alaji Azoka. I need to respect that. The matter of Alaji Azoka and the connection to Azoka boys. You know the history of Azoka boys. It's been more than a decade of their introduction into the violent arena. Today, they point fingers at NPP. And as for us, we've admitted that it is a problem. They've never admitted it. We've admitted it and apologized on more than one occasion in different ways.
But you're not ready to disband your
because they are not an organ of the party. With them it was.
No.
I'm telling you that they recognize them. Have you forgotten that when we went to the Talensi election, what happened? When the president and the interior minister at the time endorsed the violence of
Chairman,
that.
Is it part of your...
I thought you said this my time and that I should wrap up.
I want a bit of clarity so we can help the conversation.
Oh, why? You think he's going to admit it today? Let's not waste time. Make it a rhetorical question because it won't happen.
Chairman,
then also, oh my brother, don't not. You're going to let him say that it isn't, and I can tell you that it isn't.
Visible boys are part of.
They are not they are not a party sanctioned community.
Exactly. The same thing Azoka boys are not a party sanctioned.
Oh, okay. So at least you admit that they exist and that they've been around all these years and that they were precursors. They were precursors to our situation. In fact, it is you who brought that type of culture into our politics of modern Ghana.
So vigilante groups were an answer to theirs?
They were supposed to be.
Okay.
The only thing is, of course, they've gone to, but why, my brother? It was important too. In the Volta region, which today they are going to be shaky on, because the Kufuor's policies, President Kufuor's policies, have seeped into the ground, in Volta and Upper and all that. Apart from that, the reality was that when you were going to vote, I know a gentleman, he will come and bear testimony on your screens if you want him to, who in '92, when his mother is in the Volta region, was going to vote. Let's make the assumption that the community were people of 100.
Okay.
The evening before, the MDC went there and told them, this is where you are supposed to vote. The next day, when she voted for her son, who's an NPP member, she voted for NPP because of her son. When they counted and they saw that it was 99 and not 100, they came out and said, excuse me to say, for purposes of example, and it's past, so I'm sure I'll be forgiven. Which animal didn't understand us? I'm saying that was the NDC of '92. Today, it is a freer country.
How do we verify this?
I offered you the person. The person luckily is still alive. I offered you the person. I said I can bring him to your go.
We don't go that time.
But you see, I'm trying to let you know that we have come a long way. And so today, it is good to comment. No, it is important that we keep our history. Why do you think Mr. Mahama told us that we have short memories? It is so that we forget these facts when we move forward. But what was he speaking in respect of? It is key that we remember that all of these things have happened in this country. And today, when we have now graduated to this page, another person who's been elected is Mr. Gunn.
We need to wrap up.
I'm wrapping up and you keep interrupting.
No, I'm not interrupting.
Very well. So I'm saying that another person.
I just didn't like that point about.
The fact that you don't like it doesn't mean I like it. The fact that I'm saying it doesn't mean I like it. And the fact that you don't like it doesn't mean it shouldn't be said. We're not here because of you or me. We're stating facts as they are.
We're here because of Ghana.
I'm saying that go and ask General Erskine and Mr. Kwabna Darko and all those whether they could vote in the they could go and campaign in the Volta region as freely as other regions in this country in '92 and '96. And so also. I raised the matter of Mr. Gunn. You remember Mr. Gunn? You remember Mr. Gunn, Aku Gunn?
Yes.
Yeah, I consider him a friend. You remember him, but this one is political fact. You remember him. How do you remember him? Muntietre. Yes. He's welcome. Yeah.
What is wrong about that?
He has never shown us remorse in this country.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And you empower him with a position of this nature. We are watching. It is a matter of principle.
Chairman has to leave. So
if we have to talk about
it's a matter of principle.
Of his political.
Yes. You're going to go to 1960 something, and then you're going to claim that the UP tradition never accepted. No, that's on his part.
You know what is called Matimihu?
That's on his part.
Matimihu, typical. Realize that.
Did you understand what Matimihu meant?
Let me maybe my understanding
different. Why did you allow him to allow me? What's your problem? What's your problem? Why is that when I was stating our facts, you said you were not? Now he's stating things he cannot prove.
He needs to leave. That's why I'm asking him to allow him.
Why can't I prove what I'm saying?
He needs to leave.
You can't prove it.
He needs to leave.
Were you there?
Where else Toniedu? When you were, you said.
Okay.
Was Toniedu there?
He was there with his own eyes.
Brother.
Okay.
What happened at Chairman? You couldn't. Kwame Nkrumah was even. They went the extent of even daring Kwame Nkrumah to enter Ashanti region.
But it's not true.
We know this.
What you are saying is not
now
true.
you are telling me it's not true.
But you know it's not true.
Now you are telling me
you make it up, and then you teach it to your young people, so they come and speak.
My very final question to you: the issue about sanitation was key on the agenda. We saw it. You said you were disappointed and all of that.
I wanted to say
I didn't see the bins out there. If you're asking people not to take food in there, not to litter, you should have provided bins for them to drop. I didn't see the bins. Where were the bins?
I agree with you that there were some certain shortcomings. And I think those things were supposed to be provided by what do you call it, the dome.
Right.
They had to, because we have rented a place, and add ancillary factors should have been put in place. Unfortunately, there was an oversight on that issue. So we have learned.
Did you demand for it?
As part of our planning, when we met them, they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, there was a situation. They had a function on Friday, which I think put everything out of gear, because that was so supposed to. We should have about 3 days to prepare for our function. Unfortunately, the Friday event put everybody on the edge. So certain lapses took place, which we greatly apologize
Chairman,
for.
I thank you very much for your time. Most grateful. Chairman Adekoka is known as the chairman of chairmen in the NDC, and he's the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of his party, and Nana Federal Chairman of Foriata. Chief, thank you very much for coming. Shall I say board chairman of the National Theatre? Congress, a compendium of the story, what happened, what we saw, who won what, when, how. We'll tell you about it. Godfrey Tanam has got the story coming up on your screens right now.
Samuel Ofosu Ampofu had 3,656, and so Samuel Ofosu Ampofu has been duly elected as the national chairman of the NDC.
His closest contender, Dan Abudakwi, pulled 2,199 votes. Alhaji Hudi Yahya, who had held the general secretary position before, could not make it to the chairmanship slot, attracting 1,823 votes ahead of Betty Muldidrisu, who had 355 votes, with Danny Annan making a total of 309 votes. The newly elected chairman, Samuel Ofosu Ampofu, in his victory speech, promised to work closely with the other contenders, calling on them to make their rich experiences bear for victory in 2020 general elections.
It is democracy which has won the day. There are no winners and there are no losers. All of us have our part to play in moving the agenda of 2020 and beyond. And I believe that as the theme of the 9th Delegate Congress suggests, together we win. We are not leaving anybody behind. We are holding each other's hands as we move the agenda towards recapturing power in 2020 begins.
Former President Mahama, after the swearing in of the new executives, charged them to work towards the return of the NDC to save Ghanaians from the hardship they are experiencing under the Akufo-Addo-led government.
Our return to power must be based on a humble, persuasive approach to Ghanaians, that we are not only a better alternative, but that we have learned the lessons of our 2016 defeat, and that we are prepared to give them even better service than we did in our previous terms of office. For us in the political class, we must learn that the power to make and unmake governments rests with the people.
Esiodin Ketia, retaining the General Secretary position, gave Kokwanyi Dawe a run for his money, winning with a landslide margin, polling 6,642 votes as against 1,625 votes.
The Electoral Commission declared results. We have no option. In the name of the party, the supremacy of the party, to say that we accept the results declared by the Electoral Commission.
For the national organizer position, Joshua Kamba beat Baba Jamala and 5 others, with Sami Jemfi taking up the communication officer position against his only contender, Fred Agbenyo. A total of 65 aspirants contested different positions in what the party themed NDC ahead of 2020 election.
And those were sweet sights and sounds from the NDC's 9th Delegates Congress held at the Trade Fair Center in Accra, the Fantasy Dome, that is. Let's check out some of your messages. And it says, the MPP should stop giving negative comments about our National Delegates Congress. Respect to all contestants and congratulations to all the new communications officer, lawyer Sami Jemfi, Ali Eben Yakubu in Kintampo South. And good morning to you and your panelists. Wish to congratulate all the NDC guys for having a successful Congress. May God bless them all. Era Madenta News site. Filippo Kwabrek Kasam says, we were watching you live here inside Master Dan Broka Kente Thread Shop. No matter what the NDC party will do, nothing will come from Nazareth. MPP still with a comfortable lead. Good morning to my manager, Amponsa. Okay, thank you very much indeed. The government can support the local businesses by placing high taxes on products imported into the country, but can't be manufactured here. The entrepreneurs should improve on their packaging to attract investors and customers as well. Danny from Kaswa, they got a lot of that knowledge and understanding from the first ever Media General Startup Fair and Summit there. So, a funding summit. Good morning, TV3. I wish to congratulate both the Black Stars, Black Queens, and the Black Maidens for making Ghana proud out there. I echo special greetings, Daniel, me, Mensa, and the entire Dan Van group. Okay, and good morning, Johnny. Alhamdulillah, lacing our boots for 2023, down, one more to go, and together we'll cross the bridge. Ismaila Horira Ali, Greater Accra Regional Zongo Caucus Coordinator. MPP is secured about these newly elected NDC executives. So stop the, did you mean Wula Balu? Okay. Consider your loss come 2020 waters. Good morning to you. Let me congratulate the NDC party for a successful and peaceful Congress to elect their leaders to lead them ahead of the next elections. Shalom to all Seventh-day Church of Theocracy members of Frani Electricals, Pancroso, East Ashanti region. Good morning. My greetings to Honorable John and Team Fojo. Great. I wish to call on all Voltarians not to be perturbed by Mr. Dana Bodakmi's defeat, since the decision to elect NDC top executive was not taken by any other person than the delegates. My humble appeal, however, is that if ex-President Mahama wins as flag bearer, he should choose a Voltarian as a running mate in order to balance the equation. Mausi Avema in Volta region. It says, well, Azoka is not a Alaji, but a sub-chief, Abdul Rashid Tamale. Thank you very much. Mystic in Edwajiri says, congratulations to the NDC's newly elected national executive and all those who participated in the National Congress. Let's unite and work towards hard to be able to unseat this super incompetent, hypocrite, and dishonesty elites and arrogant government come 2020. Good morning. Please tell JDM to stop talking about Akufo-Addo's government and start telling us his plans for 2020 election. Rich morning, Ho. Good morning, Johnny. Nana is being simplistic in his submissions. The NPP copied the NDC in opening the Electoral College, and now the NDC has set the pace again by increasing it to over 9,000. To talk about ethnicity, very sad when they say they can't refer Northerners with a tag name. I don't want to repeat, well, you shouldn't. I'm glad you didn't. Which people beat up Paul Afoko? Why did Nana Kumia refuse to contest for the national executive position? IB is asking. Please let the NPP know that in the general elections, you only vote for two people. That is the president and MP. But in NDC's delegate congress, you vote for the chairman, the vice, and everybody else. So Peter Siam in North Carnation. Good morning, TV3. As we know this, that in apolitical days, I just want to inform the ACG company, Ada, to Bridge, come out to tell the whole town of Ada about the problem of Dosso, of like, okay, and you say your lights are going off. Mine have been going off as well. My pipe is not flowing. Good morning. Final two. TV3 viewers. Delayed process happened in NDC Congress, but everything went on smoothly. It cannot happen in the NPP's invisible forces would have chased the EC officials. Congratulations to Chief Sofo Azoka's victory is 2020 now a done deal for the NDC. Osman Burgeson in Tamale. Finally, the great NDC party is for all. Let not the discussions of a successful Congress now be centered on who is from where. Ghana has won. Aram Adenta news site dispelling any notion of ethnicity and tribalism. We'll take a break. When we return, there's a conversation about persons with disability. What promises were made to them by then candidate Akufo-Addo and the NPP's 2016 manifesto, and how many of those promises have been achieved, apart from the 3% disability fund in the common fund. We'll take a break now. When we return, there's more here on Newday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and I told you earlier about the conversation regarding the promises that were made ahead of the 2016 general elections. I've been joined by three men whose voices you very well know. In this, Joshua Makubu is a person with a disability advocate. Joshua, Good to see you again. Jalil Odum is with Inclusion Ghana. Jalil, thank you very much. And our own brother, Abdul Wahab, is with the Federation. Abdul, thank you very much for your time. So let's take stock of what promises were made to persons with disability in the 2016 manifesto, first of all, and then we can track, do a, an analysis. You want to start with me, Josh? You won't start.
Very good morning to your listeners, especially my brothers and sisters from the OT Enclave, which are should be going for a referendum.
You're pushing OT agenda too.
Yes,
Charlie.
The NPP manifesto adopted some of the points the disability movement compiled ahead of the elections. And among them was the appointment of a substantive executive secretary to a National Council on Persons with Disability, decentralization of the offices of the National Council on Persons with Disability to the regional and to the district level, and then the increase of the Disability Common Fund from 2% to 3%. It was actually increased but not implemented by the NDC government. Okay. The NPP promised what they're implementing it. Okay. Then they also talk about maybe granting free education to persons with disability, ensuring that that particular provision, which is in the Persons with Disability Act of Ghana, Act 715, was fully implemented. So these were some of the things that we engage ourselves on ahead of the elections.
Jalil, let's look at implementation now. These were promises that were made. I'm sure there are a lot more that we could think about. Inclusion was a big issue as well. What do you see? Are the promises being fulfilled?
I wouldn't say that it's fully being implemented. However, I would say that there are some steps that are being taken. For instance, they also promised about an inclusive education for all. And obviously, I think that as part of the process, we now have a policy. Okay. There is some steps being taken to implement that policy, I would say. Obviously, one big thing is employment. Okay. Because when people get educated, I mean, people with disabilities get educated and they need jobs. They must have it. I mean, and it must be equity.
I thought we're told that persons with disability would have the toll booths to themselves, so to get some employment.
Well, toll booths. I mean, we want formal jobs. Okay. I think that's the whole point. I'm not saying that toll booths, is.
But where you are qualified, you want to have your job.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that we want to move away from the charity model that is being used to a more right-based model. So if we qualify for a particular job, we must have it. Right. We don't want so toll booths. Let's put them there because that's where they belong. I think that we want to move away from that.
Abdul, you scoffed a bit when I talked about the toll booths. You have a red flag to raise?
No, just that what I was thinking has been said by my colleague. Because it's just like people thinking is that once toll booth has been reserved for some persons with disability, all persons with disability, no matter the qualification, would have to work on toll booth. And sometimes when you are even talking about employment, you hear people say that, but toll booth is there for you, right? Irrespective of even your qualification. People have that thinking. So that's why it's like when he was mentioning it, I was a kind of
health and education for us here, and this conversation is made possible by our missions project sponsored by Star Ghana, European Union, UK, and Danita. Now, Abdul, health is critical. Within the past 22 months, the promises that were made to persons with disability, have you seen that promise within the health and education sector fulfilled?
So far, for health as it is, I must say that we have not seen much of the promises being fulfilled, because most of our health facilities remain inaccessible to persons with disabilities. And beside that, sign language is one of the key areas that we have to look at as health providers or as a country. So what we have to be asking ourselves is how many deaf people are able to access health fully, because we do not have sign language interpreters in all the health centers, though we have information that Ministry of Health has started training some nurses or included sign language in their curriculum. We are yet to see the full light of it. But for education, I think we have to appreciate the fact that government has done something, because the inclusive education policy my colleague spoke about earlier is one of the areas that we should be looking at, and of course say something to commend government for that step that has been taken. Yes, we have the policy in place, and then implementation actions and other process has taken place to ensure effective implementation of the policy.
Joshua, so now these are the conversations thus far. Moving on, what do you hope to see? I know you're a PhD candidate and all of that. So when we talk about employment, you of course are looking at getting the bigger ones, not restricting yourself to a toll booth office in some corner. But the 3%, which is supposed to be allocated to persons with disability within the communities, is it helpful? Is it helping? Are you seeing it?
Thank you very much. The 3% from common fund is a huge sum of money, but the manner in which it is being dispersed is very appalling.
How?
Yeah. You go to a district, and then a person with disability who wants to set up something economical, then he applies for this fund, and a certain social welfare officer and a certain assemblyman calling him chairman of social something committee. You go and give that person 1,000 Ghana cedis, 500 Ghana cedis. It's an indirect way of saying that you to take this one and go your way.
How much do you expect them to get?
No, I expected that, as the vice president intimated some time ago, these people should have been made to come out with what? Good business proposals, which will be evaluated, and then other assessments made. And even if the person needs 10,000 Ghana cedis, the person is given and monitored and supervised to be able to implement it. Then that person is off, what they call it, the list. Then when the next batch of common fund comes, then we tackle that. But putting all of them together and giving them arms, just as Mr. Jalil was saying, we are still behaving as if persons with disability are up in arms, begging. I know somebody who applied for just about 3,500. And that person was told that money is too big.
3,500.
And the person was told that money is too big. Then I asked myself, for instance, I am a student, a PhD student. I have my thesis to do. I need an advanced laptop and other things. I can't go and take 1,000 cedis or 2,000 cedis. For what? It wouldn't help in any way. So if indeed the 3% of the common fund has come and we mean business, I think government should take steps, and then some form of orientation should be provided to district coordinating directors, the district chief executive, the social welfare officers, and even those people who are serving on the committee, to let them know that, no, we need to do things.
So the conversation, the 3%, it does look like it's come to stay, but we have hiccups how to disperse the funds. What is the conversation? What kind of conversation are we having with the duty bearers? That, look, you set this up for us from 2% to 3%, and we are still not feeling it.
I think it's issues of misunderstanding of, how to apply, to how to put the money in good use, and so the ignorance of the beneficiaries are taken advantage of. So you have duty bearers who can even think that, okay, I'm giving you 1,000 cedis. I'm doing you a favor. Look, I'm going to give you 1,000 cedis, but you got to return 200 cedis to me. That kind of. So it's kind of charity kind of conversations all the time. Now you have a situation where there is a guidelines. which must be strictly followed. And here we are, I mean, disbursement committee just decides anyhow they're going to disburse it, and there's no monitoring whatsoever. I mean, of course, we are not saying that this is the same everywhere.
Right.
There are some districts that are doing very great
well.
job,
Okay.
and we need to commend them. But then you still feel that, I mean, the whole ideology around disability is that, oh, let's
give them handouts.
Let's give them handouts.
Abdul, where do we go from here? Your closing thoughts. Where do we go from here? You are a spokesperson for the Federation of Disability Organizations.
Yeah. I think based on the issues around the common fund, what I think we have to do is to ensure that we review the guidelines, so that the guidelines will meet a certain standard that will make provisions for how people should assess and use the common fund. Because it looks like persons with disability themselves, as my colleague rightly said, still have some basic ignorance about how they apply the funds. There have been situations where persons with disability apply for certain tools, and at the end of the day, the tools are being purchased, and they come around to say that, no, I didn't request for that, I requested for this, and it becomes a problem. So I believe when we review the guidelines and even try to do a lot of education and sensitization around it, and people get to understand it, and we all apply it, it will change the life of persons with disability. Because 3% of the common fund is not a small money.
It's not
when
small
we
money.
use it well, it can change the situation.
Joshua, your closing thoughts. Inclusion, for me, it's critical, because I think that we only pay lip service to it. We have not included our people yet. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, I was very happy when the finance minister said this budget is one of the budgets that has taken care of the provisions under the sustainable development goals. And when it comes to sustainable development goals, it's all about inclusion, leaving no one behind.
That will be the second after Mexico, the first in Africa.
So I expect that as we launch into operation, this budget will see a transformation right from the presidency, where persons with disability can walk in there free without any problem. We can go to school, mingle with other people.
Do you see the hope coming?
That is what I'm made to believe. So I'm just hoping that the finance minister is telling me something that I can rely on. Yeah.
Mr. Jalil, I wrap up with you on this conversation. Your closing thoughts.
Look, I think that inclusion is everything. Now, you're talking about inclusive transport system. You're talking about inclusive housing. Now, look at all the buildings that government is putting up, whether for residential or for offices. There's no inclusion at all.
Well, I think that the Ministry of Gender, Social and Social Protection doesn't have inclusive infrastructure for persons with disability.
Yeah.
Yes, there are no lifts.
Yeah.
There's no lift, there are no ramps, nothing.
Yeah.
The ministry. Okay.
No, and I think that we need to begin to take steps on this. And the whole inclusion idea is that wherever or whatever we are doing as a country, anytime we are thinking about it, let's think about how can people with disability access the same thing as ordinary people.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jalil Odum, the voice you just heard, is with Inclusion Ghana. Joshua Makubu is a persons with disability advocate, and Abdul Wahab is with the Federation of Disability Organizations, actually their spokesperson. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Most grateful. And we want to say thank you to Strengthening Transparency, Accountability and Responsiveness, what we call Star Ghana, to the European Union, to DFID, and to UK Aid for making this conversation possible. Now, you know about Talented Kids. Season 9 came off. We took the young King Clef, Samuel Owusu, to the Dubai. He went to chill out there. I had a conversation with Judge Benny, and you should take a look at this. Conversation about the budding talent, the fast-rising star who's taking the world by storm. He's the winner of Talented Kids Season 9. His name is Samuel Owusu, but he likes to be called Young King Clef. One of his sharpness and wholeness a judge on the show, an educationist, a master musician, composer, and a singer himself, Benny Yate. On the stage, they call him Uncle Benny. He's joined us here. Uncle Benny, thank you very much for coming.
Nice
Good to have you.
Good to have you.
First off, how does it feel to know that people you shaped, sharpened, and honed are rising to the top? Not so long ago, DJ Switch met the French president and other greats. Now Samuel Owusu is touring the world.
I mean, it's such gratifying to know that at least for putting in that little effort, it gets maximized, and you see, you know, these young talents launched into stardom. You know that you and I, growing up, we didn't get these opportunities. So the whole motivation is to ensure that what we didn't get during our days, today we make those provisions for these young talents. So at least they find new meaning to live.
Right.
You understand? So we just want to reduce the social vices on the streets, get these children to be more aware of their God-given talents and how best they can, you know, get them harnessed into greater impacts to society.
Samuel Owusu is just got back from a tour of Dubai. A big fast surprise came to him, some goodies as well. For you as an educationist and a coach for life, what would be the plan for him from this point forward?
Yeah, I think in the first place, coming forward to the audition, going through the various episodes to the point where he emerged the overall winner.
Right.
I think it does not end there. That's just the beginning of his stardom.
Okay.
And there are certain elements that need to be put or invested into him to ensure that that dream becomes a reality.
Okay.
And one of the key components is the exposure.
Okay.
As much as he's such a fine talent, believe you me, if he doesn't get that exposure to work on his self-esteem and self-confidence, you see that the same, you know, talent that we celebrate so much here, he meets different, you know, talented children from other parts of the globe, and he will coil up because he lacks self-confidence or the self-esteem is quite low. But once we begin to work on these things, he gains a better self-consciousness. That really goes to energize him to even do more than we are seeing.
Right. We'll talk about that more because I'm interested in seeing them fly high. But take a look at how Samuel waxed in the spotlight out there in Dubai. Concept Warai has more.
Beat Bank.
It is spectacular. The experience is very, very good. We went to Dubai Mall, Dubai Aquarium, Ferrari World, the Desert Safari, you know, a whole lot, the Burj Khalifa. Yeah.
The Talented Kids Season 9 winner touched down on Saturday afternoon after days of touring some of Dubai's amazing attraction sites. The tourism destination is highly regarded for its breathtaking attractions and ultra-modern architecture. The versatile rapper visited destinations including the Burj Khalifa, the Palm Jumeirah Beach, as well as the Palace of Sheikh Mohammed, the Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of the Emirates of Dubai. Beaming with smiles, the budding talent described the experience as breathtaking.
You know, it's very good for me to, you know, get exposure.
The young rapper had a spectacular experience enjoying a camel ride at the Desert Safari. Also on the trip were pupils from the British Columbia College.
Visited Ferrari World, we went around a lot of rides. It was so fantastic. It was epic.
It was so great.
And what about you?
It was very fun.
Samuel's mentor and Talented Kids judge Benedict Yate was particularly excited about the adventurous experience at the IMG World.
A wonderful experience there. We went on several adventure programs and it was fun. Indeed, we had a fantastic time.
Beyond the fun, the exposure, according to the educationists, will help boost the self-esteem of the promising rapper.
In contemporary education and child development, giving the children the relevant exposures really work on their self-esteem. It works on their self-confidence. There's a thin line between the African child and then the Western child. they can do so many things. But because the Western child has a lot of exposure, normally they dominate over African children. But giving this boy such an experience, trust me, he can now match every child from any part of the globe because he's seen it all. It wasn't like watching it in movies or seeing it on TV. It was a wonderful experience.
Samuel Owusu's family were at the airport to welcome him.
And as always, we trust Concept Warai to bring you all the fine details there. But in studio with me is Judge Benny Yate. Judge, we're back from the break. That was exciting, if you ask me. Absolutely. And I must commend you and your team. You do a lot for these children, right. Shaping them, training them, putting them under fire and pressure just to get the best out of them. Then right. One would ask the question, Samuel Owusu's confidence is already skyrocketing. Why do you need to still have training programs for him after he's become king?
Yeah, I mean, it's always important to, you know, even as an adult, you need to regularly, you know, develop yourself, upgrade yourself, sharpen your skills so you maintain your space. You know, so as young as he is, if we are not careful, he becomes complacent so early, right. And soon this fine talent we are seeing will begin to fade out. Because day in, day out, new ones are springing up.
Okay.
I'm sure after those who watched this season, seeing Samuel and what he did with Sarkodie on the grand finale,
right.
They are really, you know, poised for action. I'm sure we're going to see greater and finer talent come the next season.
Right.
So if Samuel doesn't step up his game, soon his skills will become obsolete.
Right.
And we don't want that. We want to always celebrate these ones. We feel very proud to see them that, look, creating this small platform for them, we are being able to churn out such great and fine talent.
What is it that you tell them? I'm curious. DJ Switch is part of all the razzmatazz, the pump and pageantry, still has gone back to school.
That's
and
right.
is doing very well. We checked her books the other time. She's doing very well.
Absolutely.
Samuel is going back to school. All the others are going back to school.
Yep.
What is it that you tell them? Because people get a little fame and they don't want to go to school anymore.
I mean, we always advise them that, look, in life, you need two things. If you have the nature, that is how God brought you into this world, your talent and all of that, then the nurture, the training and the development that you are given.
Okay.
If you put these together, you become, you know, a successful individual.
Okay.
So it's important that they don't just dwell on the fact that, okay, I have talent, so I'm going to stop right there. No. Look at Awal from season 1.
Right.
He's now, I mean, he's a big star,
right.
But he's still pursuing his academics at the University of Ghana. And I mean, there are a lot more. Mamiesi, I can't just list them.
The list goes on.
It goes on and on. But you see, the most important thing is we do not want to just create that platform for them to come and show their skills. We nurture them into stardom and then they forget about school. No. You, Johnny, you sit here, you are such a multi-talented guy. So am I.
Thanks.
You
Yes,
know, you know what we do.
I know.
Exactly.
When you sit behind the organ, it's a different matter.
Absolutely.
Altogether.
But not many people know that about me.
Right.
Because they see the professional side, the academic thing. I mean, the things I love doing. So the same way we want to inculcate in these children that, look, it's okay to have a talent, but when you add that educational, you know, skills to it, then you become a more competitive individual.
There's a parent watching out there. There's another child watching out there who thinks that, look, when I come and Auntie Pauline and Uncle Benny and they are judging me and the guest judges, sometimes they put us in a corner and, you know, they press us so hard. At that point, when you press them hard, is it that you've spotted something that they are concealing, or you just want to be difficult judges? What is it?
Yeah, I think Paulina and I, there's one common thing we share. We do not celebrate mediocrity. You know, we believe in excellence in whatever we invest our time and resources into. So even though the children will come, I mean, as young as they are, yes, we know they are young, but we believe if we challenge them the more, there's something better that they can give out. So we try as much as possible to massage their nerves, but still get to send out the message to them. So they will not be complacent, they will not stay at that level, because we want something extraordinary.
Right.
We want them to grow on the show.
Okay.
For viewers, they are being entertained, so they are watching anything they see. Oh, it's fine, that's good. But when I sit behind the judgment table, the desk,
right,
I'm looking beyond entertainment.
Okay.
I'm here to educate. I'm here to train. I'm here to sharpen their skills. I'm here to, get them into final products.
Okay.
Something that is worth celebrating. Let me quote something DJ Switch said some time ago, I think in this same studio. She said, me in particular, she and the contestants at the time, during her season,
right.
season 8. I mean, she made a confession here that they never really liked me. Because,
why did they like you?
Because I was too technical. But soon after the show, they realized that indeed, if they should follow the pieces of advice I render, it will really bring them nothing but the best outputs.
Right.
So
and this was when she was only 9 years. She could see this.
She could see that. So sometimes, yes, we want to have fun, we want to entertain ourselves, but we want to get them to something that we can sell out of Ghana. And that, for me, that is my motivation. I don't want us to celebrate them just locally, but something that we put out there and everybody would want to.
Globally, and that's how we'll wrap up the conversation. You were in Dubai with Samuel Owusu and lots of other kids. I could see that he had matured, and now he had a chat with you, and more like a father to son, a big brother to a small brother relationship.
That's right.
At what point did you break the judge and contestant link to have the brother to son situation?
I think even during the season, the relationship as a father and son existed, not exclusively to Samuel, but to all the contestants.
Right.
Off screen, when they walk to the table, I mean, we share pleasantries with them.
Right.
We let them know what they need to do more, and because prior to their selection, we normally don't know any of them.
Right.
But we just look objectively to what they do, what they showcase, and if we find it appealing to what we are looking for, why not? We give them the nod.
How come you play with the high and mighty? I've seen you play the church organ in very high places. Then you come down to talented kids. These are children, 8 years, 7 years, some very young, and you come down to their level. How do you do that? What's the trick?
I mean, educating young ones, developing young ones is a passion. It's something, among the many things I do, one of the greatest things I cannot depart from is, investing my time and resource into seeing young children develop into fine adults. So, I have really done a lot. I am an educationist. I have studied issues relating to child psychology and all of that. So I know how to really get to the children, get a message to them, to bring out the best in them in a manner that will not be harmful to them, in a manner that they will not rebel, but in the end, we'll get something better out of them.
Okay, so welcome back, and this is a new feather in my cap. It's from the National Students Award, Change Ambassador, awarded to me for my commitment towards education and all other issues, the development of education in Ghana. So there you have it, and they capped this with this as well. So it's a new one, a brand new one. Thank you to the National Students Awards, David Oshel and the rest of the team. It's actually an organization of all the student leadership groups. So NUGs, GAPS, GNUPs, everybody else come together, and they decided that yours truly should be given this award. So we're happy. Thank you to all of them. And happy birthday to you, Mrs. Naomi Koranting. It's your birthday today. It's your birthday as well. Happy birthday to you. We'll see you tomorrow.